Update: my husband doesn't see how his work wife is trying to destroy our marriage. Original post. I am at my wit's end with my husband's co-worker Sarah, and his complete inability to see what's happening. I'm not usually one for Reddit, but I need to know if I'm going crazy here. Where do I even start? 3 years ago, my husband Mark started working with Sarah. At first, I tried to be welcoming. I invited her to our BBQs, included her in group outings, and genuinely tried to be friendly. Big mistake. She spent the entire time making backhanded comments about everything from my career. "Oh, you're just a yoga instructor? How peaceful," to my cooking. I guess not everyone can master basic seasoning. The real problem is that Mark thinks she's just being funny. Last month, she literally threw away the anniversary mug I gave him because it clashed with the office aesthetic. When I got upset, Mark said I was being too sensitive and that Sarah just has high standards for office decor. It was a mug with our wedding photo on it. Some greatest hits from Sarah. She scheduled a mandatory work dinner on our anniversary. She convinced Mark not to take a promotion because it would mean working with a different team. She posts daily photos of them together with hashtags like #WorkPowerCouple and #WorkSpouse. She tells everyone at their office that she takes better care of him than I do. She changed his coffee order and now tells everyone she trained him right. The worst part? My husband is completely blind to all of this. Yesterday, he actually told me about how Sarah said our new house, which we spent months searching for, was charming, in a starter home kind of way. He repeated this while laughing. I tried talking to him about it, but Sarah has convinced him I'm just insecure. She's managed to insert herself into every aspect of our lives. They text constantly, even on weekends. She knows his schedule better than I do. She rearranged his entire desk and office wardrobe because his style was too suburban husband. That's what he is. Last week, I suggested marriage counseling. He looked genuinely confused. Of course, he went and talked to Sarah about it. I found out from another coworker that she's been telling people that Mark and I are going through a rough patch and that she's just being a good friend by giving him someone to talk to. We weren't going through anything until she started this nonsense. The breaking point? I stopped by his office to surprise him with lunch. I know, but it was his birthday and Sarah was supposedly out sick. Guess who was there? Sarah. She'd miraculously recovered and bought him a cake that said "to my work hubby" with a photo of them from the office holiday party. She saw me and said, "Oh, Amy. You came too. How nice. Mark, you didn't tell me your real wife was coming." I'm not crazy, right? This woman is trying to destroy my marriage while my husband stands there grinning like it's all some big joke. What do I do? Divorce seems extreme, but I'm running out of options here. Edited to add, I should have stated that the promotion wasn't one that would increase his salary but his title. It would give him more leadership experience. It still blows my mind that he turned it down just so he could stay on the same team as her. Edited to add, I should have told the mug story in its entirety. She accidentally broke the mug. I noticed it was gone when I was visiting him one day and I asked him about it. He said she accidentally knocked it over and then later he repeated a joke she made about how it didn't fit the office aesthetic. Reading the top comments before the update. Sarah would not be able to sabotage your marriage if your husband wasn't allowing it. Exactly. There are always going to be women like this out there. It's how your husband reacts that's the problem. His blatant and constant disrespect is totally unacceptable, and the fact that he's ignoring your feelings on this means you need to now make him see how serious you are. If you don't change up how you're reacting and show him you mean business, he's not changing at this point. You have a husband problem. Go to counseling and get professional help to communicate your concerns. Remind him that he's married to you, not Sarah, so her opinions shouldn't matter when it comes to your marriage. Good luck, but be prepared for the worst. Yeah, this guy isn't oblivious, he's complicit. He knows what's happening, and he likes the attention. He is happy to let his girlfriend disrespect his wife. Update. Before I talked to my husband, I decided to do some investigation. I started with his phone and read all the messages between him and Sarah. She badmouthed me a few times. He did nothing to defend me but didn't engage either. She was flirty, he wasn't really flirty back. They talked a lot, and he praised her frequently for her work ethic and intelligence. I didn't see anything about cheating. I checked his email, nothing. I checked his work email, nothing. I looked through our other devices, nothing. I searched high and low for a second phone, nothing. Everything I found was always dancing that line. Nothing was outright cheating, but here are the things I found that did hurt my feelings. He has lunch with her, and only her, every day in the office. They don't really like anyone else, so they'll criticize others and say, "Let's talk more at lunch, they're serving XYZ today." He'd say things like, "I'm sure if you were a wife, you would XYZ." He always kept it as a wife and not my wife, but it still upset me. She admitted to breaking the mug on purpose. He didn't get upset with her, just said, "Yeah, the photo gifs are kind of corny." I confronted him. I laid it all out, and while he wasn't upset, he did try to brush things off. He said I was being sensitive and overreacting. I told him if we didn't have a real conversation about this, I would file for divorce. That got his attention, and he sat down with me. He admitted that at first, he found it odd that Sarah was trying so hard. He saw her trying hard with all the men in the office. The more attention she gave him, the more he enjoyed it, and the more he responded, the more attention she gave, until she just had her sights on him. He knew some of the other men were envious, and he liked that too. He admitted that eventually, he just got too deep. He said he knew it was wrong but had gotten addicted to the attention and didn't want her to move on to another man. So he indulged her sometimes at my expense. He said it was just nice to have two women in the two major parts of his life, stating that he knew we'd rarely see one another, so what was the harm? He reiterated that he never ever physically cheated with her but admitted it could be called an emotional affair. It was painful, I won't hide that. I mean really painful, like I wasn't enough. I told him from this point on, he needed to stop communicating with Sarah and ask to be transferred or switch jobs altogether. Now folks, I mean it when I tell you this. He lost his crap. He began raising his voice, saying things like he never cheated, it was all above board, and I couldn't control who he talked with at work. He called me a narcissist and a control freak. He told me I had no idea how hard it was, how much stress he had in the office, and that his personal relationship with Sarah helps a lot, taking it away would just damage his mental health. It got so bad that I started crying. I couldn't take it anymore and decided to leave. I packed a small bag and called my mother-in-law, she's the only family I have here. I gave her a rundown of what was going on, and she offered her home to me. I'm staying here and just hoping my husband calms down so we can revisit this. I want to work it out, I love him more than anything. I will try harder to answer comments on this post, and I will definitely update if something new happens. This has been really therapeutic and makes me feel less alone. Reading the top comments before the update. What does mother-in-law have to say about all of this? Has she talked to her son, your husband? My mother-in-law is on my side and told me point blank that he is wrong. However, she said she doesn't want to get in the middle because she doesn't want to damage the relationship with either one of us. She told me I'm welcome as long as I need, but she won't bring anything up to her son until he brings it up to her. Veiled, I kind of figured he wasn't that clueless. This is a full-blown emotional affair. From experience, things will only escalate, they'll be in bed together. Protect your peace, because he sure doesn't give a damn about your feelings. Stay strong. Jumped right from admitted it could be called an emotional affair to he began raising his voice, saying things like he never cheated. OP made a valiant effort, but it doesn't seem like this marriage can be saved. And you know it's bad when mother-in-law takes you in knowing what's going on. Typical emotional affair response. He doesn't want it to change, and he's mad that you are holding him to his marriage vows. Emotional affairs are always a slippery slope. Most of the time, they end up a physical affair. He's damaging his marriage, and he's so selfish. He's justifying his actions and turning it around on you so it will relieve his shame and guilt. Read the book Not Just Friends by Shirley Glass. It's an eye-opener. Not even a slippery slope, an emotional affair is just a straight-up affair with more effort put into it. If you ask a partner who physically cheated on you to stop or you're done, they'll usually just agree to stop, even if they're lying. But this dude fully blew up on his wife for asking him to stop after admitting it was an affair. The audacity to call her a narcissist. Second update. To all the people saying they're Team Sarah and hoping Sarah and my husband get together, I even saw a nasty comment saying Sarah and my husband would be the office power couple. How can you sit here and say nothing's going on? You claim my husband didn't cheat and that I'm being crazy, yet in the same breath wish they would get together? You're contradicting yourself, because deep down, you know something romantic was developing. Now for the update. My husband came to my mother-in-law's house, she didn't call him. He knew I was there because I told him, and he said he wanted to talk. Some big things happened in a short time. He wanted to explain. According to my husband, after I left, He started to reflect. He did call his mom, and they had a long talk. I didn't know any of this. She asked him if he was happy with me, and he said yes, that I made him extremely happy. He said I was a good wife and a great partner. That's when it all sunk in for him, that he was being juvenile for wanting attention from another woman. I asked him why he always brushed things off and never took action before. He said he couldn't explain it, it just felt good. He assured me he never wanted to sleep with her and never advance things that way. He said it was just nice having someone around who was fawning over him, like a fan. For those who said he didn't know what an emotional affair was and was just agreeing with me, you were right. He admitted he didn't really understand what that meant, but after looking it up, he agreed that's what it was, though unintentional. He said he didn't want to lose his friend, so he just went along with a lot of what she did. He admitted he was deep in a fog, but me leaving, and the conversation with his mom, was what brought him out of it. He said he didn't want to fight. My husband is big on giving me my space, so when I left, he didn't chase after me because he thought it would be best for us to cool down, think about things, and hopefully come back to discuss it more rationally. He did reach out to Sarah. Though they didn't meet in person, they had a phone call. He told her they couldn't remain as close, that their out-of-office texts and calls needed to stop, that he would get a replacement mug she wasn't to touch, and that they needed to cut back on their lunches. He wanted to handle this before talking to me, to show he was serious. Sarah didn't take it well. She started berating me, saying I was forcing him to do this. My husband stopped her and said no, he was doing this because his marriage was important. He admitted letting things go too far but clarified he had no romantic interest in her. He told her that if she had feelings for him, she needed to distance herself immediately. Sarah ended up ruining their friendship herself. Though my husband was willing to maintain a more distant, cordial relationship, her comments about me and him, claiming she'd never want him and that everything she did was because she knew we weren't meant to be together and was trying to open his eyes, made him realize who she really was. He said he couldn't believe he'd never seen how vindictive and awful she was almost venomous. It didn't end well. After handling that situation, he came to see me, wanting to ensure I knew he understood and was taking the proper steps. He said we could do whatever I needed. I know some of you will say I'm wrong, that divorce is the only option because he had an emotional affair. I'm sorry to disappoint, but I'm not divorcing my husband. I told him we needed counseling, for both of us. Yes, going through all his devices, emails, and texts might have been extreme. He agreed it felt like a breach of privacy but understood, given the circumstances. I told him we both needed to work on things. As of right now, I guess you could say that we're separated. We're not staying in the same house. We're going to attend counseling. I don't want to just jump back into things with him. I don't want it to seem like it was okay to make me feel like I was the second option, to ignore all those red flags, and to brush me off. This has to be worked on. I'm leaving his mother's house and staying with a friend. I'm not sure if anyone's going to want an update after this. Sorry it's so anticlimactic, sorry it's the typical "oh, you just got back together." I mean, it is, but it isn't. I love my husband. I know he loves me. I don't think everything is an end-all, be-all. Yes, it's a terrible situation. Yes, he did a terrible thing, but I want my marriage to last, so we're giving it another go. I genuinely hope this is my last update, but if it's not, y'all will know. Thank you for all the messages, all the support, everything. It really has been a huge help. Reading the top comments before the update. Hi, I'm glad that you're not going through the typical Reddit divorce him route. This is real life with real people and real feelings. You have to see if you can work through it. This is marriage, it's tough sometimes. When you go through crap like this, you go through crap like this together. Now if he had a physical affair with her, then yeah, divorce him. But since he didn't, it's more nuanced than that. And you know what, I would like to hear an update, because if things do or don't work out, I want to see you living your best life with or without him. In the end, you'll come out stronger than you were in your first post. Edit. Also, I agree with other posters, you need to tell your husband that distant friendship isn't good enough. No friendship is the only thing on the table. If he won't agree to that, then maybe divorce is the only option. I know a lot of people have been saying this, but you have to understand, my husband still has to work with Sarah. Yes, he could quit his job, but finding another job takes time. So as of now, he has to work with her. When I said he wanted to maintain a distant friendship, I meant he wanted things to be cordial at work so he didn't just outright cut her off. We had a very long conversation about it, And I should have added it to my update, but I didn't. When I mentioned him saying distant friendship, it wasn't him saying, I'm not cutting her off. It was, I don't want this to turn into a big thing at work, so I'm going to do this gradually. I'll set hard boundaries and then slowly drift apart as I start pulling away. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but that was his thought process. As a female in a male-dominated industry, and employer, the term work wife/work husband sickens me to no end. I've been labeled a colleague's work wife in the past. Fortunately, the one who labeled me that got transferred to a different location about 18 months ago. I have 2 questions for you, if you don't mind me asking. Have you looked into his employer's policies on workplace romance? Have you reached out to HR about Sarah, given her patterns at his job? I ask because I fear things will get worse before they get better. I appreciate it. Work wife and work husband are definitely terms that can quickly become disrespectful and cross a lot of boundaries. I'm glad that uncomfortable situation rectified itself for you. I did not look into their policies because they didn't really have a workplace romance issue. Emotional affairs are such slippery slopes because there's nothing physical going on, so there's nothing that HR can really do. Technically, in the eyes of policies, they were just good friends. HR can't really control what you do on your personal time or on social media, unless it makes the company look bad, especially if there's no sexual component. As far as reaching out to HR, I can't do that. I mean, I could, but it's ultimately up to my husband, and I'm sure he will on Monday. If he does, I'll definitely update how that goes. Last update. My husband's ex-work wife has started a smear campaign. Hi Reddit. We're continuing our work wife saga. As a lot of you predicted in my last update, Sarah wasn't happy about my husband ending their friendship and trying to put distance between them. I honestly thought she was going to reach out to me, but she never did. Why? Because this was never about me. I was never even on her radar, except as someone to tear down. I'll give Sarah one thing, she's extremely efficient. She started her campaign long before Monday morning. Over the weekend, she reached out to several of my husband's co-workers, mostly male. She told them that my husband had randomly stopped being friends with her and that she suspected it was my fault. She said she couldn't believe it, everyone knew how close they were. She claimed she just felt bad for him, wanted to be a friend to him, and hopefully help him out of our terrible marriage. She went on and on about how this would affect her during her working hours, saying she didn't know if she could even continue working at this job. One of the female employees at my husband's office messaged me all of this. As many of you predicted, she's gearing up to accuse my husband of sexual harassment. Monday alone, she put herself in my husband's path multiple times. It honestly feels like she's setting up for a he said, she said situation because she's doing a lot of odd things, at least according to my husband. Think stuff like, intentionally following him into a room or section of the office that's somewhat closed off, accidentally emailing or forwarding him things, going to his cubicle multiple times a day for no reason, or sitting too close to him in meetings. It might look harmless, but really, it feels like she's gearing up for something. My husband did go to HR first thing Monday morning, and just like I expected, they pretty much said they can't do anything unless it affects work or working hours. His HR is not the greatest, he let them know what she was doing, but honestly, I don't think they took him seriously. We've been thinking about moving. The only thing keeping us here is really his mom, so he might just transfer jobs. We're not sure yet. I just hope things don't escalate further, and since he already went to HR, I'm hoping nothing major happens. I'd also like to give a little update about our counseling. To all the people who told me I was making a mistake by giving my husband another chance and trying to work it out, I'm so glad I didn't listen. I understand it was a crappy situation. I lived through it. I know exactly how it felt. But counseling has revealed a lot about my husband that I didn't even know. Apparently, he was bullied severely in high school, and he kind of went through a little glow up when he got to college. Sarah is definitely one of those stereotypical pretty blonde girls, and my husband admitted that it kind of felt like he finally got his chance to be popular in a social setting. He also admitted that Sarah basically mirrored everything about him, his likes, his dislikes, even the way he talked. She treated him like he walked on water. It definitely sounds like she was boosting his ego in a very manipulative way. Like I said, I understand this isn't a forgive and move on kind of situation, but hearing my husband talk about how it felt and how it affected him made me have a lot more sympathy for him. I still haven't come back home, but we're taking it one day at a time. I went and had lunch with him on Monday, and I'm going again today. I'm trying to be there for him so he doesn't feel alone. I'm really ready for all this to die down. I just hope it doesn't escalate further at work, but if it does, we'll deal with it. On to the next story. The woman I have been dating for 2 months made a comment that broke my hopes. So, I met her on Hinge, and she's the most beautiful and interesting woman I have ever met. I love taking it slow with her, just meeting on dates, dinners, and movies. The great thing about her is that she's as enthusiastic about planning and making time for our dates as I am. She's not playing games. She's not trying to be hard to get. She's spontaneous. The dates I've had with others have often left me feeling like I had to do everything, only to be met with mild interest. But she's funny and intelligent, and we can talk for hours. Then I invited her to my place, and she seemed very happy to come over. I asked her to meet for dinner first, and then we walked to my apartment. She took one look and said, "Wow, I never think about how poor people can be." Then she chuckled and said something about herself being out of touch, called herself a moron, and then strutted off to the couch and made herself comfortable. I stood there frozen. I'm middle class, and my apartment is in a good part of town. It's very small, yes, but I own it. I felt very emasculated. The thing is, she didn't seem to mean it in a bad way. She was very happy to be there. We watched a movie, and I was nervous the whole time because I wasn't sure I'd be able to perform, but she was too damn beautiful, so it went well, I guess. Now she's invited me over next weekend. I'm not sure if I'm going. I guess we're from very different worlds, and I'm not sure we mix. You have to go, because I have to know what her place looks like. I am scared, to be honest. What if a butler opens the door or something? I'm joking, of course. I just don't want to hurt her if this is over. You hand the butler your coat and lean back into the male equivalent of a sugar baby roll. Maybe she's got one of those fancy massage chairs some wealthy people have. Take a dip in the pool, and if she says something rude again, make sure to piss in it. Sounds like she's out of touch, and caught herself, but she clearly likes you, and you like her, so just talk to her about that comment. Her response will validate any decision to end or continue things. Don't be accusatory, just talk about how it made you feel and what your worries are. Until then, don't work yourself up. I guess I never planned on mentioning her comment.